All right, welcome to the last video, the 8th video in the negative keyword series. I really appreciate you watching all my videos. And if you haven't watched them all, if you're on this video, there's 7 other videos. So go back to video 1 and come all the way back to this one. And you're going to get a lot of information that I give out. And if you've watched them all, I really appreciate you making it this far. I appreciate you spending your time with me. I really hope that I taught you some things and you learned a few tricks. And maybe now, when you start doing negative keywords or positive keywords that you're going to use in your campaigns, that you'll put some time into it, because this is the most important part of the whole system of doing any type of online advertising, be it Bing or Google, right? You need to make sure that you spend some time getting those negative keywords so you're not wasting your money. There's nothing worse than having somebody click on your ad. They put a search in for something you don't do. If you're an odor control business and you get rid of like household odors like cat and dog and smoke and skunk and things like that, and somebody searches for foot odor or underarm odor problems, and you don't have those as negatives, and your ad comes up and they click on it, because people don't really pay it that much attention. It's like 3 seconds and they think they see something, they click on your ad and you just paid for that click, right? And you have nothing to offer them. So it's extremely important, just like I was saying in one of my videos about the dog boarding and dog kennel client that I have, and it was a new niche for me. It took me 3 days to come up with negative keywords, all the ones that I wanted to come up for, so they weren't going to waste any money. There's nothing worse than wasting money, right? So I'm going to give you a free gift for making it this far, and let me share my screen and show you what I'm going to give you. Okay, so I'm going to give you my my basic negative keyword list, my name negative keyword list, my countries and city and state. So there's 368 negative keywords here, okay, on my basic one. And it's things like class and, all the stuff that most companies want to negative out. But you might go through here, and let's say you're an antique dealer and you're using Google to get new customers to come to your antique store. Well, antiques would you definitely don't want that to be a negative keyword, because it's going to block you from being seen, right? So you understand that. The way I like doing it is, if I'm not going to use a word like antique, I usually write it over here and I go through the list really slow, right? And I just start looking at it. And if there's words like, if I sell calculators or something, I wouldn't want that to be a negative. And I usually do it that way. And then I come back and I start deleting them. If you don't want to take that time, because a lot of times I'll write stuff in here because I want to think about it a little bit, right? If I'm not sure, I'll write it there so I can think it through. Like how might somebody search, and is it going to hurt me on getting business for something I actually sell, or a service I sell, or a product or something like that. So I do it that way. And once you do that, all you're going to do is you can come to this list, right? And of course you can use this list after you do that and start adding your list as you do your searches. And if you went through all the videos, you know what to do now. You know everything. And so once you're going to erase something, you just click on the thing, you delete it, right? And you shift cell up, and all that's going to do is get rid of that word, and apartment's going to move up. Okay. So that's how you do that. And so there's 368 negative keywords in this, I believe. Let me see. Let me make sure. Yeah, 368 in this one. And then the names this is something I use quite a bit, because I work with a lot of clients, a lot of service businesses that don't have those large several $1,000s a month budgets. And so in order for me to protect their budget and get them as much work as I can, I use names I make a list, and I call it names in my list. And I showed you how to do that in one of the videos. And I'll add all these names, because some people's business is after their name, and it might be their competitor, right? So I usually add these. Now, if I have a decent budget, I won't use the names, because I can sometimes steal other people's I can steal their competitors away from them, right? I can take that. Somebody might search a competitor, and my client might get the job because their website looks better, or whatever they just seen sounds really good. You know, a lot of clients, unless they're really sold on that business, they just make decisions quickly sometimes. Say, oh, this looks good, I'm going to hire them. So if I have a decent budget, I won't use this. If I don't have a decent budget, I'll use it. And as you can see, I spell it 3 ways: singular, plural, without a apostrophe, and with one, because negative keywords are all about how it's spelled, right? And so if somebody spelled Aaron, A-R-O-N, then, and I didn't have that as a negative, I could come up if it was Aaron's odor removal, right? And it's almost impossible to know all the negatives in the world, and you get 10,000. So I use this. Okay, so you're going to get this list, and this is like 1,700 keywords, 1,700, something like that, 1,758. Okay, then countries. Now, there's a little, I've had talks with other agencies and other freelancers a lot, and they're like, well, why do you even put that in there? As long as you're using location targeting, you're not going to come up. And that's not true, because I've seen it happen. Like I might target Chicago. That's where my service area is for my client. It's just in Chicago, right? And I've seen clicks from India, and I'd have to call Google and say, what's this all about? I'm targeting Chicago, and I got a click from India. I shouldn't even be seen in India. And so you got to go through all that hassle. And if you've ever talked with Google, people on the phone on the other side, they don't understand a word you're saying, right? Like it's usually some foreign country, and they don't, English isn't their first language, and they don't understand you. And then they try to sell you something more, like, hey, we just looked at your account and you can optimize this and you can spend another $10,000 and you'll get 1 million more clicks. So I'm just very OCD, and I put all of this in. I pretty much negative out the world from where I'm at, and I don't need to worry about it. And I'm probably overdoing it, overthinking it. It's just something I do. There's just something about some of us, right, that we can't help ourselves, and we do that. So if you want to use these, great. They're all there for you, okay? And so there's countries, right? And then I have cities and states. And I always use these. I have all the major cities and all the states, right? So basically what you're going to do, you have two lanes here, right? You have your cities and states. So this is where, okay, I work in Alaska. So I definitely do not want Alaska as a negative keyword. I won't show up. So I'll either write the name in there, and maybe in Alaska, I don't work, like here's Anchorage. This is in Alaska. This is a city in Alaska. Maybe I work in another part of Alaska, and I don't want to come up in Anchorage because that's 3 hours away, and I don't want to drive there, especially in the winter, and there's 50 feet of snow and a bunch of moose on the roads, right? And I don't want to go there. So I want this as a negative. But if you work in Anchorage, you're absolutely going to get rid of this. And all you do when you get rid of them is you click on this lane right here, hit delete, and just say okay, shift cell up. Arizona will be right under Allentown then, okay? So it's that easy. I just like writing them down as I go through. So because a lot of times I'm looking at words, especially on like the basic one, right? I'm looking at words, and maybe there's stuff that maybe I'm an antique dealer. And so, man, I got to get rid of antiques. I won't come up from my advertising. I sell antiques, right? And so I just have all this in here. And so use the basic one. Once you go through this and you get rid of the keywords here that you don't want to use as a negative, just continue on. Start adding your new words below here. Start putting them down here, right? Start adding all the new ones. And then all you do, when you get all the lists, you just go to this whole lane, right? You go over to data, you go over to remove duplicates right here, and you go to that to B, right? Because you're going to want to be in B in negative keywords, and you just remove duplicates. 132 duplicates. No, there's not. Yeah, I don't know. Oh, there must have been something down below because it's still at 368. There was no way that happened. But if there's any duplicates, it will remove the duplicates. Okay. And then that way you don't have to worry about it. If you don't remember a word that might be up here, you just put them in, do the work. Okay. So doing the work is the most important thing you could absolutely do. So I have one funny story. Okay. So today my wife and I are driving around. We live in Fort Collins, Colorado. We're going to buy another house. So we're looking around where we might want to be, right? And I've only been here since June. We moved here because my son and daughter-in-law live here and our grandchildren live here. And my son owns a restoration company. But before he owned his own restoration company, he worked for a franchise here in Fort Collins. Anyway, we did Google advertising for them for mold remediation. And mold testing, and they were getting leads. Every week they were getting some leads, and I mean, it wasn't like an enormous amount because they were only advertising in this one town. It's only like 100,000 people, but they were getting leads. So there's this really large agency in our town, and I knew they were big. I just have never seen their building. Sorry about my dog. I've never seen their building, and I'm serious. There's signs like 50 feet long. And it looked like a Walmart 3 stories high, right? It was a huge building. I'm like, God, I knew they were big. I didn't know they were that big. Here's the story. My son's boss worked with me for about 5 months. He went to this place, and I'm sure like they have 90-foot screens and everything, all these people in glass offices and, hundreds of employees. It looked really awesome. They do all this weird stuff. And anyway, they had to sign a contract. I don't have a contract with my company. I believe that if my client does not want to work with me, then I'm not going to stress them out with a contract. They don't have to work with me anymore. And vice versa. If I don't want to work with them, I could just leave, right? Anyway, 6 months contract, they didn't get one lead. So I've worked with a lot of large companies. I've even hired some to do some projects with me. And look, it's not what everybody thinks. Now, I know there's some good people out there that do an awesome job because I know them and they're like phenomenal, right? And so, but it's my experience, a lot of these big companies are not that great because they don't have the passion a freelancer has. And I know that I'm a freelance, what I do here, but we do have a large company. We have people that we work with. But I get, I'm not in a big building, right? I don't have to worry about all that stuff. But, if you don't have the passion and the heart for this, then don't do it. Because if you're not going to give 100%, 150% to your clients, there's no reason to be in this game because there's too many people giving 90% and 100%. I've always been 150%. Look, I don't have a college degree. I have a GED, but I owned a multi-million-dollar restoration company. And it's because it's this simple. I didn't go to business school. I couldn't do that because with ADD and bipolar, I couldn't make it through school. I'm 63 now. Back then, they just put us in the special class, right? And so I learned how to make it on my own. And it's simple. Business is simple. You answer the phone, you show up a couple minutes early, and you give them 150%, and you're going to win. And it's always been my philosophy, and it works every time. And that's what I do at Trust Local. That's what I did when I owned my restoration company. And that's what I do in life, man. That's what I do with my wife. I give her 150%. My grandchildren, my son, my daughter-in-law, they get 150%. They don't get 100%. They get everything from me. All right. So if you enjoyed the videos, if you got something out of this, I'd really appreciate it if you would subscribe to my channel and like my channel. And what's really important for the algorithms in YouTube is that you leave a comment, good or bad. Just leave a comment. Say something. Did you enjoy this? Did I help you? Am I crazy? Did I not help you? Whatever it is, I'm happy to talk with you. There's no perfect person on earth. Believe me, we all make mistakes. And so, some people are going to think that I'm not for them. I'm not the right trainer. I'm not a teacher per se. I'm just very passionate about what I do, and it works, and I make my clients a lot of money. I have very little turnover. And it's because I put the time in and I'm passionate and I have the right people working around me. And to work in my company, you got to have passion and you got to care about the other person. You got to care about the client. So thank you so much. I really appreciate you making this far. And if you love this, watch my other videos. Have a great day. Have a safe 2021. Nobody gets COVID. We don't want that. All right. Bye-bye, y'all. Okay, so you made it to the end. That's awesome. So look, if you missed any of the videos, right here on the screen is video number 1. You can just click on that and go all the way back to the beginning and watch all the videos up to now if you have the time or if you want to. And we just appreciate you being here with us. And we can't wait to give the next free training series that's coming out really, really soon. And we'll see you there. All right, bye-bye.